It's time for the Creator Town Hall here on Studio Live today. This is our show by creators and for creators, and it's brought to you by the wonderful folks over at BandLab. Yeah, if you're a creator and you're looking to create your own music, you can use BandLab on your Mac, your PC, your mobile device. It's a very cool way to record your own music for free. Now, you won't have to listen to me rabbit on this particular show because we've got a very special guest all the way from Germany, and it is Emily from Moonlight Thief. Welcome to Studio Live today, Emily. Thank you for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Very, very welcome. Now, for we've been playing your music on Your Music Live, which is our weekly independent live music show. For wow, we've played probably two or three of your songs on there, and they always get a really good reaction. And I mentioned it on the show, and I said it would be really cool to find out a little bit more about you and about the band. So why don't you give us a little bit of the backstory? What is the backstory of Moonlight Thief? How did you come about for creating music?
Okay, the backstory is basically Alex and I we met at school during a school project.
Nice.
We have like a band group at school, and we both joined it, and we figured out that we both make our own music. And he heard two of my songs that I'd previously recorded, and we just wanted to work together, see how we fit, because obviously I was very inexperienced in working with other people on my music, so I just wrote my songs myself, and then I was looking for a bit of support to maybe uh, finish them a bit more and make them sound a
Yeah.
bit better. So we got together, and we actually found out that we work very well together, and kind of have the same visions for what we want with our music. So we continued recording our songs, and yeah, now we're
Yeah.
still a band, and it's going great.
It really is. And for those that are watching here, and normally we do this show live, but again, because of the time differences, we're recording this live to tape here. But jump down into the description because your website, I was jumping around here today and it's super impressive. So for a band that's been together for only a short period of time, you've really set things up well here. And yeah,
Thank you.
the topic of this show is starting from scratch. So we're going to talk about that, of how you, when you get together as obviously like as a duo, especially, or as a band or as an individual artist, how you can actually bring things together. So I highly recommend folks go and check out your website there. You've got all the information there. Folks can go and check out your music. And I think, now correct me if I'm wrong, I think I found your music originally, someone recommended you to me on DistroKid and on like
Mhm.
the slaps.com.
Yeah.
So you were sharing your music there. What got you to that stage from, forming a duo and then starting to record and then releasing your music through DistroKid?
Well, obviously the I started writing music, and I just felt like I needed to share it somehow, like to get it
Yeah.
out there, because I used to just, sing for myself, and never had anyone to really show it to. And I didn't really want my work to go to waste, because it was
Mm,
actually something that I was proud of. So I figured the best way, to make it a bit of a better situation for me is to release my music to the public,
yeah.
and get others' opinions. And then we looked at different distributors. Me and my dad works very closely with me on
Nice.
publishing all of this. I
Mm,
don't do much of the work myself, honestly. But yeah, we decided to publish it through DistroKid. It just
nice.
seemed the most appealing to us. So yeah, that's
Yeah.
why we did that.
And it's very cool. And again, for the future of music, and yeah, your dad probably remembers back in the days, and he's probably amazed by the fact that, yeah, you can actually get your music out there,
Yeah.
and that you can publish your music, and that you can produce music and get it out there in the sort of quality that you can.
Hmm.
And we'll talk a little bit more as we jump in about your recording process, because one thing I've blown away by was the quality of your music, and just the amazing sort of guitar sounds and the amazing vocal sounds that you get in that music. It's just got it's a level of maturity that I'm like, I'm blown away by it every time I listen to
Thank
one of
you.
your songs. I'm like, this is amazing stuff. And yeah, again, I highly recommend you go and check out what and so it's Emily from Moonlight Thief. So let's give a shout out to your bandmate, Alex. Is it that
Yeah.
is yep. Excellent. So Alex couldn't be with us here today, but yeah, so shout out to Alex as well, because yeah, you need that. And the collaboration side is good. We'll talk a little bit about collaboration as well a little
Mhm.
bit later. But you mentioned like when I reached out and well, actually, I think I mentioned you to you in one of our shows. I said, "Oh, this is really good music. If you ever want to come on the channel, let me know." And when I asked you what should the topic be, you mentioned starting from scratch. So, what does that mean to you, and what have been, I guess, some of the challenges and some of the hurdles you've overcome from starting from scratch in terms of setting up a band, writing songs, recording, getting all the promotional things together?
I mean, it kind of came very naturally to me because I was at a point where I was kind of very confident with my music because I'd written songs before. Like I started writing songs when I was 10. Now I'm 15, and
Wow.
yeah, I started writing again because I took a long break because I don't know, I was very uninspired for a long time. And last autumn, actually, I wrote "Come Home" and another song. It's called "Any of Those Things." It's not released yet, but it's one
Oh
of my
wow.
favorites so far.
Excellent.
Yeah, I wrote those, and I played them for my dad, and he was like, "Okay, let's get these recorded. They need to be put out there." And I was very, yeah, I like that idea a lot. So yeah, we recorded those in a professional studio, and
Wow.
then I brought them with me to show my music teacher because I just wanted to have like a more of a professional opinion from someone who
Yeah.
actually also listens to a lot of music and kind of knows a bit more about it. And he showed it to Alex actually, and that's just how we got together. Like I asked him if he would want to work with me on them, on the two songs, and he happily agreed. So
Yeah.
yeah, I just put those songs on USB, um, gave it to him, and he, added like electric guitars and drums and everything by himself.
Wow.
He has like a basement studio, um, and yeah, he did that way, and I was very impressed. I honestly didn't expect it to work out that well, but
Yeah.
yeah. Also, first the idea was that I would be like a solo artist who's just getting a bit of help from others, but
Mm.
he was doing so much. I just really appreciated what he did for me. So I, you know, put the offer out there that we should make this a
Yeah.
project for us both. And yeah, that's how it
Oh,
ended up
wow.
working. And yeah.
That's amazing, and I love like here in Studio Live today we hear similar stories, but it's usually someone who starts writing songs in when they're young, when they're in their teens, and then
Mhm.
they leave it for like 30 years, and then they
Yeah.
come back in their 40s, and you're like, yeah, I started writing it when I was 10, and then when I was 15, I came back to it and starting recording and doing it again, which is pretty cool because again, yeah, being having the quality of music and the ability to do what you can do in terms of the recording and then the creating and then the releasing of that music, it's pretty awesome. Like, you must. Well, I was going to say, are you excited for the future? That's a silly question, but you must be pretty excited for
I'm
the future.
very excited for the future. Yes, we have a lot of things planned, and I'm just very excited to keep going with this band because really feel like it's heading somewhere. So
Very
I'm very
cool.
excited.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about that because I know that there are people, and look, it doesn't matter what stage you are. I know there's people. I can hear. I know we're not doing this live, but I can already predict the comments of people just going, "Oh no, I feel so bad because she's so young and she's got all these cool songs and she's doing this successful stuff already." But what is your advice for people that are starting out? So when you sort of starting to do these sort of things, what again were there any challenges that you've had early on, or any sort of advice? And I know that's hard to say because you're just at the start of your journey. But what have you been finding so far in terms of that?
Basically, my number one advice would probably be you have to stop being insecure of yourself. You need to be confident in your abilities, and you shouldn't put yourself down or feel like no one's gonna listen to my music anyway, or
Yeah,
something like that. Just it's even if you suck at the beginning. Obviously, I when I started writing music, I was very bad at it, and I wouldn't share any of my old songs with anyone. But uh, I think it's just you have to put yourself out there. If you don't go to other people, ask for their opinions, and then continue to work on yourself and better yourself, then
yeah,
that's not really going to get you anywhere. I don't think so. Just I don't think you should be alone with your music. I think even if you want to be a solo artist, it's great to have other people's opinions and have an environment where people support you. And yeah, also just I I've learned it along the way. I thought I would just be like a solo artist. I didn't think I would
mm,
even have a band. It's something I've always dreamed about, but I never thought possible for me for some reason. But when I met Alex, it was really like I never realized how magical it could be making music with
mm,
people who have as much passion for it as you do. So really, I would encourage you to search out like-minded people so you can get together and create something, because it's I found much more fun to share your passion with others than just keep it to yourself.
Absolutely, and that's something that we see all the time in the community here and here on Studio Live today. Because a lot of people, yeah, come into this community and they engage with other people. And I think making music or writing songs or songwriting, and we'll talk a bit more about songwriting a little bit later, but it can be a bit of a lonely kind of thing sometimes because it's really just you and your
Yeah.
creative creations, and you can get stuck in your own head quite easily. But yeah, being able to like, have someone else's inspiration and ideas. Have you found that were there some songs that you created and when Alex sort of started working on them, did any of them take a different direction? And was that ever challenging
Yes.
for you to go, hey, this isn't actually what I thought this song would
Yes,
be? Like I thought
absolutely.
it was going this direction. Any stories along those lines?
Yeah, actually, I can't really think of an example that from songs that we've already released, but there are some that we've been working on these past few months, and it's just, I have a lot of ideas in my head of how I want my music to sound, and obviously, because I write the songs myself, basically, I write the lyrics and I write the melodies, and I just um, basically play it for him, and then we
Yep.
add stuff, we take stuff out, and we kind of work around that. But yeah, I have like a very solid vision of what I want my song to be, and then he has a completely different vision, and then it's kind of hard to compromise sometimes. So that's also why sometimes recording and writing takes so long for us. That's why we don't like release a song every week, because it's actually taking us quite a long time, longer than we expected, because it's very hard to like meet in the middle and create something that we both love completely. So
I like
that's definitely been a struggle sometimes.
Yeah, yeah. I look at it. It's the best and the worst part of collaborating and
Yeah.
working with other people because sometimes you'll create something and you'll think, yeah, I know exactly where this is going, and
Mm.
then someone brings something else, and I think initially it's easy to be resistive of that and say,
Yeah.
oh, I actually had this idea, but
Mm.
sometimes it can actually enhance it. So
Yeah.
there you go. Alex will be bringing songs bring to the table soon for you, and then you'll have to go, oh, right, yeah, what am I
Yeah.
going to do with this? Oh, very cool. So we'll jump to this topic here because you've talked a little bit about this, and obviously, like music's been something that you've been doing for a long time. I say a long time, but a long time because you've been starting really early. But what is it? Why do you create music, and what is it about music that kind of grabbed you and said, "Yeah, I want to do that. I want to write my own music and my own songs."
Basically, I've always listened to music all my life. I've loved everything about it, and I just feel like it's the most expressive art form out there. Like I also draw a lot. Like I think like I do a lot of art in my time. I just love being creative, and ever since I was really young, like I started singing when I was about 6 or 7 years old. Like I was bad at singing, obviously, but I started then and just passionately sang along to the songs I loved, and then once I got a bit older, I found bands that I really enjoyed and could really identify myself with, and that was just very inspiring for me to see people, um, you know, very young people, even like in their early 20s, maybe, making something of themselves and really
Mm.
succeeding with their music and doing what they love and just being confident in their abilities and showing it to other people. I just really admired that sort of confidence and creativity. So I started writing my own songs because like I have a lot of feelings, so I kind of felt like I needed to get them out there somewhere. And I think the mistake I made, like when I was like 10 or something, when I started writing, was that I was writing just for the sake of writing, not because I actually wanted to do something with it. So that's always been a struggle for me, and that's still something I can't do. Like I can't just sit down and be like, okay, I'm gonna write something and then
Yeah.
produce something incredible. That's not something I do. It's just I get my inspiration from my own feelings and situations I've experienced in my life. And I just feel like music is the healthiest and best option for me to process my emotions. So that's uh, pretty
I
much
was
why
gonna
I write.
I was going to say, yes. As someone who has a couple of daughters that are growing up, I'm like, yeah, I'm pushing them towards that because I'm like, you're right. That does seem like the healthiest and the best way to process
Yeah.
those feelings and emotions that are going through. And I think that's what struck me about your music when I was first listening to this, and there, yeah, when I started listening to the music, and then I found out like how young you and Alex were in creating this amazing music. That's why I said there's a maturity to this. This is thoughtful stuff. This isn't baby, baby, maybe, maybe. This is not like Justin Bieber stuff. And
Yeah.
if you're a Justin Bieber fan, more power to
I'm
you. That's
not.
fine.
It's fine.
But yeah, but it's that next level of songwriting where yeah, there's a lot of meaning behind the songs, and there's a lot of you're just listening to them. They really do hit home, and yeah, it's like I say, it's very good stuff. So again, folks should definitely go down into the description, check out all the links there, jump over to the web page because again, yes, yeah, you and your dad and whoever else you've got doing your work behind the scenes there. I'm actually I look at my website and I'm like, oh, I need to get some tips from Moonlight Thief because they have a much better website than I do. Very, very cool stuff. So you talked before. Let's we'll talk a bit about more about recording here now. So the recording process that you went through. So you said you went into a professional studio. So what was that experience like? You want to take us through what happened and sort of how you chose that path to go. And you sort of mentioned that Alex has his own sort of basement studio, and then you went and recorded professionally. How did that all come about?
Well, when I wrote my first two songs last autumn, I really didn't know how else to proceed with them because I didn't have any opportunities to do it at home because I didn't have like a program on my PC to do it with. I didn't have proper microphones. I just was very lost on my own. So
Yeah,
we searched out some professional studios in my area, and we found one. It's this older guy. He's just in his garage. He has like
yeah,
a really great studio in his garage, and it just felt very comfortable. I got a very comforting vibe from it. So we went there for the first time, and it was just I was very nervous, obviously, because it was
yeah,
someone who's been working with other musicians for ages, decades,
yeah.
and I was just very nervous that I wouldn't be good at it at all, or I would not be able to sing, or wouldn't get my guitar right, or anything like that. So I was very nervous, but I actually found that I'm uh, like I can get through recording quite fast.
Mm.
Like uh, it's not that much of a time consuming process, I don't think. Um, so it's just I just go there, get it over with, and then
Yeah,
back home pretty much. It's not
I
really
like it.
yeah. So
Yeah. Okay.
I
I
just
like it. Get it over with. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. For a
It's
recording channel, it's like, is that how we all feel sometimes? You just want to get it over with. I love it.
Yeah, because I want to have a finished product. Like that's the whole reason I'm doing this. It's not because I
Yeah.
want to, I mean, obviously the journey counts, not the destination and stuff like that. But the destination is quite satisfying as well when you have like a finished piece of music that you can listen to and really think like, oh wow, I made that. It's a good feeling. But yeah, I just go there, get it over with. I record my vocals there and my acoustic guitar, and then I get it on a CD,
Mm,
and then I bring it back home and we continue working on it in Alex's studio.
nice. That's so cool. So how do you? Because again, a lot of the community here sort of produce their own music and are into the home recording side of things.
Mhm.
How do you actually? Because obviously you said you don't get into the whole digital audio workstations and recording things, but obviously you must have to capture your ideas and capture your songs and record your ideas somehow. How do
Mhm.
you go about that? Do you use anything on like your phone or your computer? Do you do voice recordings? Like when you're writing a song, how do you actually go through that process of capturing those ideas?
My writing process is pretty much I have like a verse or a line or a melody or something in my head to get started with, and then I just sit down with my guitar or my piano, something like that, and I just write lyrics and the melody like at the same time, and it just usually comes very naturally. Like I rarely have any songs where I write the first half of it like one day, and then like
Mm.
month later I write the rest of it. I usually do it like in one sitting. Takes me about like 2 or 3 hours most of the time. Um, and uh, yeah,
Yeah,
then
that's
that's just
nice.
I capture them on my phone. I
Yeah.
do like audio recordings. Um, and then pretty much they're in my head forever. So like every song that I've written, like in the last a year or something, I have memorized completely. Like, not
Yeah.
the lyrics all of the time, but I know the melody and what I wanted to do with it. So
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Lyric can be the hardest thing again for a songwriter and a singer.
Yeah.
People, the community here in my family always say that I'm terrible at remembering lyrics. Not even just other people's songs, but my own songs as well,
Yeah.
which is a challenge. Very cool. So everything kind of comes at the same time in terms of your songwriting.
Yeah.
You don't sit down. Do you sit down and like write? Do you do poetry and that sort of thing, and then sometimes put that to music,
Yeah.
or is it all relating? So in terms of lyrics and music, do you do that all sort of simultaneously, or sometimes you do it separately?
Sometimes I have an idea for a lyrical concept, so I write down some words first, and it's kind of a bit more poetry-esque, I think,
Yeah,
than like a proper song. And then later I look at that idea and then pick that up again and make a song out of it, and maybe reuse a few phrases I had before or something. Um, but I usually do it simultaneously, so I uh, rarely ever write my chords first and then the music around it, but or the other way around. But yeah, I usually do it at the same time.
yeah, nice, very cool. And in terms, so you mentioned guitar and piano. So are they your two main instruments? And how long have you been playing those? You've been actively learning those, or are those things that you pick up and that you've been playing? What's the background there in terms of your musical training?
I've actually never had any musical lessons, like
Wow.
not properly. Like when I was younger, when I was like 8 years old or something, I took piano lessons, but
Mhm.
I didn't really enjoy it that much, so I quit fairly soon after that. And I just, everything I know on piano now is just. I mean, I'm not good at playing the piano at all. It's enough for writing, but
Yeah,
I could never be a pianist or something. I just know how to play chords, basically. That's
nice,
not very impressive, but that's all I know how to do. Um,
nice.
and I've been playing guitar for about 3 years now. Also, I've never really had any lessons. I just, I use Ultimate Guitar and looked at chords and just learned that way by playing songs I already enjoyed.
It's
Um,
it's amazing,
yeah,
isn't it? It's so funny because I talk about this with people and with it's amazing how much online education there is and how
yeah,
I do feel a bit bad for formal educators and teachers. But what I'm
true.
hoping is that it makes teachers realize that they need to be not better, that's the wrong word, but they need to be more engaging, I think,
Yeah.
because I think a lot of folks go through the same thing you're doing, and whether you're starting out learning music or whether you're sort of coming back to it,
Mhm.
yeah, finding the right way to learn. And for some people, they do need a formal teacher and they need someone that can keep them on track. But yeah, finding out what you want to do. And I don't know what the experience was like for you, but I was the same. I did piano formally with a piano teacher, and
Yeah.
yeah, it was never pleasant. I got in trouble
Yeah.
for not doing my theory, and I got in trouble for not practicing my scales. And I just wanted to learn how to play the
Yeah.
songs that I liked. And
Yeah.
yeah, it's interesting that these days, again, because of the power of YouTube and the power of things like Ultimate Guitar, which I use. I was just practicing on Ultimate Guitar myself just before this show. It's amazing how much information there is out there. So
Yeah.
yeah, hopefully it makes music teachers
Yeah.
improve what they do.
And actually, the way I even got into it, to playing like instruments properly and learning it myself is I played the ukulele before, because
There
I
you
was a big
go.
21 Pilots fan like a few years ago, and they really inspired me. And I think that's also what kind of kickstarted my journey with music and learning more about it. So I played the ukulele before, and then I wanted to be a bit more advanced, and I started playing guitar. Yeah, I, I don't really play much of ukulele anymore, but yeah,
That's
I
so
started
cool.
that way.
I like it. Well, it's a good segue actually, because I did want to ask you about that because you mentioned like the love of music and getting into music and being influenced. So, what artists, what sort of music is influencing Emily? It's influencing a 15-year-old in Germany to want to go and start creating your own music. So, what was it that you were listening to? 21 Pilots, who are fantastic, by the way. Are they a duo? I know there's
Yeah,
two main
they're a duo
members. So
as
yeah.
well. I don't really listen to them anymore, to be honest. I don't
See,
really
that's
enjoy their new
21
stuff
Pilots are
anymore. But
so 2019.
yeah,
They've
yeah,
left in the past. Yeah,
2017 even. It's
27. Oh
ages ago.
God. Oh, so
um,
so who else are you listening to now, or who else has inspired you and makes your music?
like my main inspiration is Placebo. Like they're my all-time favorite band. I think. Like I've been listening to them for like 2 years now, maybe, and
Yeah.
they've always been the band that I was able to identify with myself with the most. So definitely Placebo and like very strong female artists like Kate Bush, Tori Amos. I love them, and also The Cure. I love a lot. A lot of '80s music as well.
Yeah.
I really like that decade in music. And also it was more strongly back in the day. I listened to a lot of My Chemical Romance, obviously, because who
Oh, there
didn't?
you go.
I'm actually seeing them live next week, which is like
Oh,
a dream come true for
wow.
me. Uh,
That's cool.
yeah, so they've inspired me a lot lyrically as well and aesthetically even.
Yeah.
And also like other female artists. I like Taylor Momsen from the band The Pretty Reckless. I really like them. Yeah, those are just kind of artists that inspire me not only musically but also lyrically, especially like Placebo. I've always
Mm,
adored their style of writing, and yeah, it's just been a band I've always kind of looked up to ever since I've known them. So
very
yeah.
cool. No, that's some good. I know. Look. Again, we don't have the benefit of a live audience here, but I know some of the regulars that watch this show and some of the folks in the live chat are just going to be like, yeah, they're nodding, they're agreeing with a lot of your recommendations there. You mentioned that your dad helps you out with a lot of the stuff that you do with the band and with a lot of the
Mhm.
behind the scenes stuff. Does your musical taste and your dad's musical taste align, or do you have a very different taste? Like, did your family influence your musical taste, or is it more of a I'm rebelling against what they like? Because I know it could go one of either way, can't it? Sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, my dad's a big music guy. Like, seen the background, all his vinyls, and he
Nice,
listens to a lot of different kind of music. So we do have some artists that overlap. Like, I actually got into Tori Amos and Placebo through my dad, which
nice.
I'm very thankful for. Like, he has very good music taste, but there are also some artists where we just don't agree on at all. So, um, yeah, sometimes our tastes overlaps, but other times not. So I kind of found my
Yep,
own way through like what kind of music I like listening to, mostly like
yep.
through the internet, what other people were listening to and liked. I listened to as well, and then I kind of found my own way through that.
Nice. That is good because yeah, I'm trying to work out like I'm trying to work out whether with my children whether I should try and influence them towards my music or whether that will actually push them away from the music because I'll be like, well, dad's so old and lame. There's no way what he's listening to is cool. So they'll listen to the opposite. But no, they're pretty cool. But no, it's cool. And there's a lot of I guess that does explain a lot. But in terms of listening to your music and then hearing your influences, there's a lot of that dark sort of vibe, I think, and
Yeah.
that sort of feeling that comes through in your music. Then now that you sort of mentioned some of those bands that you've mentioned there, that sort of comes through as well. So yeah, it makes a lot of sense, and I like it. Very cool. So we've talked a lot about recording here and your process here, and we've got a whole lot more to go. Once again, if you're watching here, you're not watching live because this is live to tape, but you're watching the premiere of this. You're watching it live, and I'll be there in the chat. I know it's a little bit meta here, but we're going to take a quick break now to hear from the wonderful BandLab because they are the folks who sponsor this show, and they're the folks who keep the lights on around here. So we'll jump to that, and then we'll be back with Emily from Moonlight Thief in just a couple of minutes. Songstarter is a way to generate song ideas. All you need to do is fire it up and click on this dice, and it's going to generate some ideas that you can use in your next song. Just 5 seconds later, and a song idea has been developed. We can hit play to take a listen. We could also select between 3 different ideas here with some slight variation. Let's try number 2. And number 3. We've also got the ability to change the mood here from more of a daytime to an afternoon and even a nighttime groove. So let's try the afternoon groove on this number 3 idea. And how about some after dark kind of vibes? If you don't like what's being generated, just hit the dice again and BandLab's going to ask you to generate new ideas. You hit the button and away it goes. You get a whole fresh set of ideas. To restart the whole process, we just click on the restart button. Now, there's another option here that's very cool. You can actually enter a lyric idea, which will just feed the engine and is a bit of fun here. So let's click the enter lyric and let's throw something in here. All right, we've got our idea here. Let's hit the let's go button and it's going to generate some ideas based around that lyric. I have writer's block and so do you and so do you and so does he and so does she and so does everybody sometimes. Ready to start working on that idea? It's as simple as clicking on the Open in Studio button. And BandLab will start a brand new project here with all of the different tracks, all the instruments and all the MIDI information so you can start editing, adding to this and recording your own new tracks over the top. And if you want to learn how to use BandLab to record, edit, mix, and complete your own songs right here in BandLab, check out my free 4-part course linked in the description. And the Song Starter feature is not exclusive to your Mac or your PC. You can even use it on the mobile app, whether you're on iPad, iPhone, or Android. Simply download and sign up to BandLab and then hit this red plus button here. And up the top here, you're going to be able to tap on the Song Starter and the rest of it works exactly the same as the desktop version. We are back here with Emily from Moonlight Thief. If you're just joining us, do jump down into the description and check out the links there because I've already been giving you so many props for your webpage. It is awesome here. You can go in here and check out all of the music that you've got released there. You can jump to SoundCloud, you can go to Spotify, you can go to all of the different places and check out all of the cool stuff. And love the album artwork. I wanted to ask you about that. As I was going through the website today in preparation, I'm looking at that artwork and we talked about sort of your musical influences and there is very much Placebo albums and My Chemical Romance albums always had cool artwork. Where
Yeah.
did the artwork come from for your releases that you've done so far?
So for our first two releases, I actually made the covers myself. Like I drew them.
Wow,
It's actually not the type of style I usually draw in, so it was a bit of a challenge for me. But I was going
nice.
for that sort of monochrome, like that's color palette of
Yeah.
red, white, and black. I just found that very aesthetically pleasing, so I wanted to create something like that. And um, yeah, the rest weren't my idea to be honest. But yeah,
That's
I
cool.
made the first ones myself.
Very cool. So you set the scene. You set all the themes
Yeah,
and the black and white and the
yeah,
monochrome with the red, which is very cool.
yeah.
Black,
The
white, and red.
aesthetics are very important to me. So
That's yeah. You've mentioned that a couple of times. So
yeah,
talk about that because I think a lot of people get into music and they start producing music and they start creating music and they don't really think about things in terms of the aesthetics and of the things that go around the music, like the wrappers of the music. So that's the artwork, that's videos, and that's other things that you do
yeah.
with your music. So why is that important to you? Do you think in terms of making sure that that all aligns?
Basically, visuals have always been very important to me. As I mentioned, I'm also an artist. I appreciate a lot of artwork and drawings, and I've been drawing all my life as well. So I obviously paid a lot of attention to like colors and how they made me feel. And when I was writing my music, those are just the colors that came to mind when I listened to my own songs. Like when as you mentioned, the kind of darkness that I was trying to channel, I just really I felt like those colors suited it a lot. So I decided to make that our kind of brand for now, at least. We'll see if that shifts as the music shifts as well. But yeah, that's just kind of the colors I associate with what I do.
Yeah, I like it. That's a music shift. So you're saying in a couple of years' time, it'll just be like bright pastels for Moonlight Thief. You're going to change it up.
Maybe
It'll become
not.
Daylight Thief.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think we're always going to be a bit in the darkness, but uh, yeah, I can definitely imagine our music changing throughout the years, and maybe I'll find different colors that go with the music better. But for now, it's red. So
Oh, it's very cool. And again, I think a lot of people just don't think about that because the visual, and again, especially in 2022, visual media is everywhere,
yeah,
and audio is great and audio is fun, and people listen to music, but having people discover your music is challenging, and
yeah,
having that aesthetic around it and having your brand and your
yeah,
feel, I think is super important and
yeah.
underestimated.
That just adds, I feel, another dimension. Like I feel much more drawn to bands who have like very certain aesthetics. Like for example, White Stripes, they had like the same color scheme as we do, but I just found like their albums are really appealing because they had like a very certain kind of vibe that you could like grab and point towards,
Mm.
and it just made a lot of sense. Like I like things that go together perfectly, so I just wanted um, everything to match nicely.
I like it. You mentioned a word there, go together perfectly, and I wanted to dive into that because a lot of folks suffer from perfectionistic tendencies or wanting things to be perfect. And you've talked a couple of times about wanting the songs to sound right and things to look right and things to be right. How do you manage that? Do things ever work out not perfect? And how do you manage when things don't go exactly the way you thought that they were going to?
Um, I get very frustrated easily when things don't work the way I want them to. So even now, once we finish recording the songs we've already published now, for example, "Come Home," I look back at the way I sang that song, and I'm like, "It's so wrong. I should have done that so much differently." And I honestly, I can't listen to that song because it bothers me so much. I'm a very perfectionistic person.
Mm,
I I want things to be perfect all the time, and that can kind of hold you back in a lot of
mm,
things, and also in like creating music and especially recording it because with Alex, it's like when I sing at his place when I have to do like background vocals or something, um, I have to do a billion takes until I'm even remotely satisfied with what I've done. And he gets very frustrated because I'm the only person who hears the difference. So it bothers him quite a bit, and that's also like part of the reason why it's taking so long to finish these songs. But yeah, I'm a big perfectionist, but like at a certain point, you just gotta say, you know what, this is
yeah,
all I got. I can't do any better now, and you gotta live with it. So I
yeah,
think for people who are starting out, I think that's what also held me back a lot back in the day. Back in the day, um, that I was just so afraid of not being perfect and not doing
yeah,
things the way I would prefer, or being embarrassed about it a few years later. I was very scared about that. I
yeah.
was just really hard on myself and really judging myself for what I did instead of just accepting that those are my abilities at the moment and that's
Mm,
all I can do. So I think um, with art, it's just really you gotta accept what you do at the moment because you gotta just keep in mind that you'll always improve. You'll write better songs if you're not 100% satisfied with the one you've created now. Wait a bit, you'll create a better one. So yeah,
That's very very wise words again, because I know a lot of people are in that position where they don't they're unwilling to share, and again have that problem where they're like, this is not perfect. I know I can do better,
yeah,
and the thing is, you probably can, but it might be the next time around. It might be the next
yeah,
song, and I think until you actually start and you start sharing and you start finishing songs, you're not going to know. And it's yeah, it's good to hear that, yeah, no matter where you start or no matter where you are in your journey, that yeah, that these are all challenges that we have. And the good news is for you that by the time you reach the age of myself and many of the other people in this community, you'll have done it 1,000 times,
yeah,
and you'll hopefully have gotten over that, or you'll be just so honed
yeah.
in your technique that you'll be able to nail it every time. Um,
Yeah, but I just want to say that's also
yeah,
a thing. I think when once you've like published your music, it's very easy to not be as self conscious about it anymore. Like I found like I was a bit nervous to release our first single because I was like, what if people hate my voice? What if people hate the way I look? Because we had like pictures going along with it, and I was like very nervous about it all. But like seeing other
yeah,
people be so kind to you and give you such good feedback and
mm,
compliments, and it just really encourages you to keep going because now I know that I have like at least one person uh, who's looking forward to hearing more from us. So that really keeps you going, and I think that's also a bit of advice I would give to anyone who's starting out.
absolutely. Yeah, very cool. And it actually segues well into our next topic, which is all about sharing music. So, you have obviously started sharing music in a lot of different places. And again, I think I found you on slaps.com, which is where you can share things. And when you release with DistroKid, you've released music with DistroKid, so it's available on all the platforms. And once again, you can jump down into the description to check all of that out. What is it? How have you gone about the whole music sharing process? So how have you got your stuff out there, and how have you shared what you've been creating so that people can actually find it and listen to it?
So we basically started out. I think we put it on Slaps first. Um, Also, that's like I don't really actually know much about how that's done because my dad helped me. Um,
Nice.
but yeah, we also set up like the website, I think is very important. Because again, it has the visuals to go along with the music. So I think that's very important to have like an aesthetic base to go off of. And then we had an Instagram account where mostly people that we know in real life follow us and are updated with our band. I just think it's important to get yourself on as many platforms as possible, because everybody has different platforms they prefer, and that way just more people can reach you. And I think that's just the best way to go about it. So get yourself out on as many platforms as you possibly can. That's my advice, I guess.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it's, again, we live in the future, is what I like to say a lot, which is that you can actually do these sort of things. And don't, like, you will have to move past the friends, but start with the friends, start with the family and
Yeah,
friends, because they will
exactly.
be supportive. There'll be a little bit of American Idol syndrome where they'll say, "Oh my goodness, you're amazing. You're the best thing ever. You're so great." And then you don't want to take that too much to heart, because you will get out into the real
Yeah,
world, and
obviously.
there will be other people. But it's a place to start, and it gives you got an instant fan base, and they're going to be some of your raving fans to start with, and then they will share with their friends
Yeah,
as well.
that's the
So
thing. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Got to use your network. Use your network early on. I think some people are very scared to do that, because they think,
Yeah.
oh no, my aunties and uncles and cousins won't care
Yeah,
about it.
you shouldn't be shy about it. Like it's
Yeah,
it's your family. They should support you, and if they don't, uh, you know, if they don't care at all, then that's how it is. But um, you shouldn't take that too much to heart. They're just the people closest to you most of the time, or like friends, or people you know. And I feel like that's a very safe base to start off on, because
yeah.
those people are not gonna judge you too hard. So
It's true.
yeah,
Yep, absolutely. And there's a heap of communities that you can get involved with. So again, Moonlight Thief were played on Your Music Live, and that's a great community that we have here for independent artists to get your music played. And we've played a couple of songs from you as well. And there's a heap of places on Instagram and Facebook and all sorts of forums where there are people that are going to help you, and there'll be people that will critique you too, because you
yeah,
do need
obviously,
that. Yeah,
yeah.
you need a little bit of help along the way, and sometimes, yeah, things won't be exactly right, and you don't want to just continue. It's like anything, if any sport or any music or any art, you do need people that are going to tell you and say,
Yeah.
"Hey, that was great, and this could probably use some work in here."
Yeah.
Uh,
Otherwise, you're never gonna improve. So it's always good to,
exactly.
get a bit of criticism every now and then.
What's your how are you going about in terms of promotion at the moment? So what do you do? It's obviously similar to sharing music, but
Yeah.
promoting yourself can often feel, again, for independent artists and for people that are starting to share your music, it can feel a little bit awkward, because many of us, especially artistic types, are maybe a little bit more nervous or introverted and don't really want to sort of put yourself out there on a pedestal and say,
Yeah.
look at my song, it's great, listen to my music, it's amazing, I
Yeah.
make the best music ever. But how do you go about that promotion side? Does that come naturally to you, or is that something that you're working on at the moment?
I think so. I think it comes quite naturally to me. Like we're gonna play a few gigs this summer as well, so that's kind of our main
Cool.
form of promotion at the moment. So
Yeah.
we're just keeping it very locally at the moment, because that's the easiest place to start. And I think just um, yeah, it makes a lot of sense for us, because obviously we live in a very small town. It's not like we can go to that many places, and obviously the
Yeah.
musical community here is very small. But it's also kind of like an advantage, because everybody kind of knows each other and supports each other. So
Nice.
yeah, Alex basically got us all the venues. He knows a lot of
Cool.
people. He's been like an active member of that community for a very, very long time. So he knows a lot about it and how to, organize shows. He's played a lot himself. So that's kind of what our focus is at the moment. Our first gig is actually going to be next Friday on the 17th. Um,
Wow.
and I'm
Exciting.
very excited for that. We have two friends supporting us. Noah, he plays the drums, and Micah, she plays bass. And we're just a group of four, and we're gonna play some gigs, and hopefully that will kind of get us a bit more recognition and appreciation, even if it's just locally. But just I don't even think that matters that much, how far away your fans are, how many
Yeah.
fans you have. If it's like a very small community, but those people appreciate you and will listen to your music, I think that's just very. It's nice to know. It's nice to have people on your side. So we've
Absolutely.
basically use that as our main form of promotion. And I go around, telling my friends about it. They tell their family about it, and just kind of word of mouth thing. So everybody
Wow.
kind of knows about it.
That's so cool. That's inspiring to me because one of the things that I haven't done and been meaning to do for a long time is actually get out and play. And obviously, there's been things in the last couple of years that have made that more challenging than it
Yeah.
would have been otherwise. But yeah, we're at the point now where live music can actually be a thing again.
Yeah.
That's again weird segue because I know we're talking about sort of music promotion, but as someone who is in kind of you should be in your prime concert going time, and do you sort of look at the situation and go, how many gigs have I missed? This is where I should be out there watching live bands every week because I know I was at your age,
Yeah.
but they probably hasn't been that many. So are you like just champing at the bit to get out there and actually see more live music?
Actually, in 2019, I actually went to a lot of concert before all the stuff happened, and this year I'm going to a lot more as well. Actually, seeing all my favorite bands this year, so it's really,
Making up for it.
but yeah.
Excellent.
The
That's
the
a
thing
positive
is,
way to look at it. I like it.
yeah,
Yeah, you've got to make up for lost time.
yeah, exactly. And it's just I find it a bit sad that we live in such a small town because there aren't like any venues where like actual like good bands play that you actually want to listen to. Um, I would love to listen to as much live music as I possibly could. Like, if I could, I would attend a gig like at least once a week. But that's not really possible for me. I wish it was. Like, I sometimes wish I lived in like a big city where like
Yeah.
every night something was going on because I just love the feel of live music and supporting artists that way. And I do find it quite sad that I've missed so much the last 2 years, and
Mm.
I also think I'm gonna miss a lot more in the next few years because I just don't have many opportunities to really get out there and experience it. So that
Yeah.
really does depress me quite a bit sometimes. But
Well,
yeah,
don't tell your family this, but I've got a feeling that in a little while you'll probably move
yeah, I
to a
hope
larger
so.
city to follow the music because I know it's
Yeah,
what a lot of people do when you, especially if you're creating music and playing music, and then you're seeking out more music, you'll
yeah,
find other communities. So I'm sure your community is wonderful, and I don't want to disparage that in the slightest. But yeah, we have similar challenges here. I'm in Adelaide in South Australia, and
yeah,
when people think of Australia, they think of Sydney and Melbourne and Brisbane, and unfortunately, a lot of the big touring acts do exactly the same thing. They come here, they do Sydney and Melbourne and Brisbane,
yeah,
and then they fly back to the US or the UK or wherever. So we have similar challenges where if I want to see a big band that comes out to Australia, it's usually a trek
yeah.
to go and see them play. But it's worth it. It's worth it sometimes if it's a band. I've never seen Placebo. Was it Placebo that? No, My Chemical Romance. I've never seen them
Yeah.
either. Two bands that I've are on my wish list to actually see live,
Yeah,
but I haven't
Placebo. I'm
actually seen them.
also seeing Placebo this year, which is
Oh wow.
mind blowing to me. Like, I'm really looking forward to that as well. It's in November, I think. Yeah.
That is so cool. Yeah, no, they're definitely one of my favorite bands as well, and amazing music. If you're not listening to Placebo, go listen. Actually, go listen to Moonlight
Exactly.
Thief first, and then go listen to a bunch of Placebo because they have Every You, Every Me, my favorite, one of my favorite songs. Anyway, so yeah, we've talked about where were we up to? I keep going off on sidetracks and tangents. That's the good thing about this
Sorry,
show.
it's
We
also
just
kind of my fault. It's
no,
fine.
it's great. It's the whole point of this show because again, it's by creators and for creators. So we're talking about the creative process. So if you are just joining us here, we do have only about 5 minutes left, so coming towards the end of the show here. But if you do have any questions or comments that you want to ask, normally you can ask them live here on the show. If you drop them down in the comments below, then myself and I'm sure Emily and Alex and all the Moonlight Thief team. It sounds like you've got a team of people behind you doing the work. We'll be able to help answer and interact with you there. So thank you again. And if you're enjoying this one, you can hit the thumbs up button. That's a YouTube thing that we like to ask people to do as well. So we kind of covered this a little bit before, but I put it here at the end here. So again, we'll sort of circle all the way back around from the start where we went from starting from scratch. You've already given some of these tips, but if someone's inspired, if someone's looking at you and is, probably 50% inspired and 50% jealous of how good music you're creating, then what are some of those tips that you would have again for someone who's starting right now in terms of doing what you're doing to write songs and to collaborate? And that's what we were going to talk about too,
Yeah.
collaborating with other people and any other tips or any other thoughts that come to mind in terms of that.
Yeah, basically, I say just do your thing, make your music. Definitely don't hold back and be confident in what you do, and then share it with others, and maybe find a community of people who support you that way. I think those are the most important parts for starting out.
Very cool. That was it. It was as simple as that. I like it. Very, very cool indeed. Is there anything else? Where is the best place that folks can go? Is it just to the website? Is that going to be the launching point for people if they want to check out all the stuff that Moonlight Thief have got going on?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, you can find our music, our videos, even like a few articles that have been written about us. If you want to check that out, I think it's the best place to start.
That's there you go. That was a good thing because I did want to ask about that because you've had. I was reading these today. I was going through and I'm like, you've had some amazing reviews already, and
Yeah,
I guess this is another tip for folks is that when people say things and write things about your band, you can use that, and you've got a lot of things in here where you've quoted a lot of articles and things. How did that come about? Like, how have you been already featured on so many different places? Was your dad just getting in there and going, all right, we're going to find all the everything that's ever been written about you because it's very very cool stuff.
yeah. I mean, obviously, my dad does like a lot of the online promotion kind of stuff, and when we release a new song, we make sure to get it out to as many people as we possibly can. So that includes like people who write these articles, like journalists or something, even if they're just like very small journalists that don't have like a huge following. I think that still makes like a huge difference. Like that really keeps me going as well. Like seeing people write about us, it's very rewarding. But yeah, just seek out people who do that kind of stuff for a living, and they will write about you. So it's kind of like maybe it's not always as sincere as you wish it was, but I think that's still like a good place to go with your music
Yeah.
to get articles written about you.
Absolutely, and yeah, and again, it's something that a lot of people sort of miss out on, which is that
Yeah,
yeah, get yourself out there, and when people actually do say
yeah,
things, then using that to promote yourself is actually an okay thing to do. And again,
yeah.
it can feel a bit unnatural sometimes for some
Yeah,
people, I
also
know.
you shouldn't be ashamed of what you do. I think like that's the thing people that holds people back the most. You just have to, you know, stand up for yourself and be like, "Okay, I'm great at music. I can do this. I want people to listen to this," and get yourself out there. I mean, it sounds that simple. It not always is, but I think that's really important to do.
Well, yeah, 100%, and clearly that's what you and Alex are doing with the band, and yeah, I know that everyone watching this is going to be super inspired and want to go and check out your music. So do
Thank you.
jump down into the description and check out that everything that Emily and Alex and Moonlight Thief are doing down there. Do you have any parting words before we finish up here on the show today?
First of all, thank you for listening. Thank you for having me again as well.
No,
Um,
very welcome.
um, yeah, I had a lot of fun doing this, and also I would appreciate if you checked out our music. And gave it a listen, give us a follow, anything. Yeah, we appreciate every kind of you know attention we can get.
Absolutely. No, do go and check it out. Like I say, I know many of the people watching this have already heard your music on Your Music Live, are already fans, are already following you on all the various places and listening to your music. But if you haven't, do jump down to the description and check it out. If you had some fun today, if you enjoyed it, please leave a thumbs up there. Do check out our sponsors, BandLab. They are awesome folks. And if you are a creator and you are trying to capture those ideas, or you are doing your own songwriting, and you don't have all the gear, you can use BandLab on your phone or your tablet or your Mac or your PC. So whatever you're using, you can rock out with BandLab, and we do thank them for supporting this show. Thank you, Emily. It's been an absolute pleasure getting to know you and hearing more about
You
you and your
too.
music. And please, as we say every week, please be kind to yourself, be kind to others, keep creating, folks. We'll see you next time on the Creator Town Hall.